is your mass airflow sensor. And this is the cold air intake on the Mustang. And unfortunately for me, my filter was still a little bit too wet when I reinstalled it on the car, and I ended up getting a little bit of water on the mass airflow sensor, causing the car to surge, and I can't remember, I think it might have died. It was right in the driveway. It was kind of one of those things where I was like, crap. And I knew what had happened as soon as the wrench light came on the dash. So guys, this is a quick video, but I wanted to share this experience because it's not even a mistake. I didn't realize that the filter, after I'd cleaned it, I had blown it out. I had let it, dry for quite some time. It still was a little bit too wet when I reinstalled it on the car. And with the force of the, suction from the engine when it was starting, it actually pulled some of that water out of the fiber in the filter and brought it up the intake tube a little bit, and it ended up screwing with the mass airflow sensor. Now, if you're not familiar, this is what the mass airflow sensor looks like. It's always protected by gaskets. Do not touch it. You want to use something like this CRC mass airflow sensor cleaner. I'll make a video just kind of going over some of the maintenance items I like to do every year or so. But this is responsible for monitoring the air that's coming in through the intake, and that's why, if you have certain intakes, this is not one of them, but some of them are tune required, and a lot of that has to do with the placement of the mass airflow sensor, the size of the intake tube, because that stuff's all important with air-fuel ratios, how the vehicle's running, all that sort of stuff is really, really important. So if you take a look here at my intake filter here, this is a dry filter. And so think of this as a somewhat of a K&N filter, those oiled ones, but it doesn't use oil. It's designed to just be a dry filter, but it's reusable, unlike a paper one. And so if you look here, you can see where it's almost like collapsed. And this was from when I bought the car, because the filter had never been cleaned, which is a item that a lot of people don't pay attention to. So back last year, I had cleaned it, and I'd picked up this AEM dry flow air intake cleaner, and basically you spray it on it, you spray it on the inside too and the outside, and then you just hose everything off inside out, making sure you get it all clean. And as you can see, it's got like a nice silvery gray, whereas when I got the car, it was almost like stained black. Now, the reason I wanted to share this is a good depiction of what can happen with a dirty mass airflow sensor, and especially in an instance with those K&N or oiled filters where people have a habit of over-oiling them, and you can end up with that same effect where you get oil that goes through the filter and actually contaminates the mass airflow sensor, and it's going to cause the same thing. It may cause an engine light, it may not. It may cause obvious drivability issues, it may not. But over time, if oil's getting on that mass airflow sensor, you're not going to have your engine running at optimal, conditions. It's going to be trying to compensate for that, and the sensor is not going to work correctly. So I guess the takeaway here is make sure the filter truly is as dry as you possibly can. Like I said, it seemed pretty dry to me, but apparently there was some moisture hiding in there. Even the cleaner does say it can be damp, but there just must have been enough water where it affected the mass airflow sensor. I was able to put it out in the sun longer, it dried it out, I cleaned out the intake tube, no issues. I've started it, haven't had any issues, and the engine light hasn't been on. The other nice thing was it truly was such a small amount of water, nothing went up past the mass airflow sensor in the intake tube. It was bone dry, and nothing was on the throttle body. So I knew that that's all it was, but it is just a good lesson to keep in mind. Always be mindful of that mass airflow sensor. Keep it clean using that cleaner, and also make sure you're taking care of your filter, whether it's a paper one in your vehicle that comes from the factory or an aftermarket dry or oiled filter. Always be mindful of that stuff. It's really important. So I hope you guys got something out of this tip. Let me know of any questions down below or any similar experiences you want to share, and we will talk to you in the next one, guys. Take care.